Getting prepared for an emergency means thinking about the needs of all the members of your family, including pets. Take a few minutes to check out the information on ready.gov, specifically addressing tips and tools for pet owners. As you put together supplies for your family's emergency kit, be sure to think about the well-being of your pets. Include food, water, and medicine to sustain your pets for at least 3 days. Visit ready.gov for a complete list of suggested items, along with recommendations for how to prepare an emergency plan that includes your pets. Remember that pet food and medicines can spoil, so check your kit regularly to make sure everything in it is still fresh. In the case of an emergency, you may be able to stay in your home, or you may have to evacuate. It's important to have a plan for either situation. If your family and pets have to wait out a storm or other disaster at home, identify a safe area of your home where you can all stay together. Put your emergency supplies in that room ahead of time, including your pet's crate and supplies.
The single most important thing you can do to keep your pets safe is to take them with you if you have to evacuate during a disaster. Oftentimes people think their pets will be more comfortable or somehow safer at home. This is not the case. We've seen so many situations where people think they're going to be gone for a couple of hours and then you are not allowed to go back to your home for days or sometimes even weeks. What's going to happen to your pet if you leave them behind?
Consider checking with your local animal shelter or emergency management office to determine if a pet-friendly emergency shelter will be set up near your location. Many emergency shelters only allow service animals, so advanced planning is key. Make a list of boarding facilities and veterinary offices that might be able to shelter animals in disaster emergencies. Include 24-hour telephone numbers. Another way pet owners can be prepared is by developing a buddy system.
With a buddy system, what you're doing is you're making arrangements with your neighbors and friends to, in case of a disaster, that you'll take care of each other's pets. So if you're not available to get your pet from your house, one of your buddies will be able to go into the house and get your pet.
A Pet Inside sticker is an effective tool for alerting first responders that there are pets inside your home. Your pet should be wearing up-to-date identification at all times.
It's extremely important that your pets are identifiable. So you want to make sure that all your pets have collars, and on those collars you want to have tags that have your name, your address, your cell phone number is extremely important.
It may also be helpful to put the phone number of an out-of-town relative on there, just in case you're not able to be reached in the event of a disaster.
Microchipping is a particularly effective way to identify pets separated from their owners in an emergency.
Getting your pet microchipped is really crucial to keeping them safe in a disaster situation. A microchip is a small device that can be implanted painlessly under your pet's skin, and it can be very inexpensive as well. If you're separated from your pet in a disaster situation, they might lose their collar and they might be taken to a shelter that's far away from where you live. At one of these temporary shelters, it would be very easy to swipe a scanner over your pet's microchip and all of your contact information will pop up, making it much more likely for you to reunite with your pet.
There are many things to consider when preparing your family for an emergency. By taking the time to also consider the needs of your pets, you can have the peace of mind knowing that even the smallest members of your family will be ready.
After seeing many sad situations where people left their animals behind, it's really wonderful to see people making pets an integral part of their disaster planning process.
With a little bit of planning, you can make a big difference and you can keep everybody, including your pets, safe.
Check out the information for pet owners on ready.gov and get started preparing today.
These days, disaster preparedness is on many families' mind, and it's important for you to have a plan of evacuation for your family and for your pet. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the more important things for you to have for your pet to make your evacuation plan safe and comfortable for your pet. The first thing we want to make sure that we have is a secure carry-all bag. This one is insulated and it is waterproof, has a zipper lining with it, and is a great basket to carry all of your important medications and documents in. We want to make sure that we provide at least a day or two's worth of water in our evacuation plan. We also want to make sure that we have some safe food, the same kind of food that your pet is normally eats. Make sure you take a day or two of this food and have it in a zip-locked or waterproof bag. And we have to feed our pets and water our pets in something, so a container that's easily foldable, doesn't take up a lot of room, and can hold water or food in an easy manner is certainly recommended. And at least one food bowl and one water bowl will take care of the food and water for your pet. So we want to put that in there also. Another important object to include is any type of medications that your pet normally receives. Some medications are required to be refrigerated, and if your pet is required to have a refrigerated medication, make sure that you carry a frozen ice pack. It lasts for a couple of days in a insulated container, so place your ice pack in and put the medication in comfortably on top of your ice pack to keep it nice and cool. Other medications that your pet may need on a daily basis or maybe on a weekly or monthly basis, things that are very important such as heartworm preventative or flea control, make sure that you carry a small selection of these as well. Ask your veterinarian to give you maybe a week's worth of your dog's or cat's medications so that you can have them available in a zip-locked waterproof bag as well. Certainly important to take your pet's documents with you, and your pet's documents should be kept also in a plastic bag, zipped, or some permanent sealing. You want to make sure that you include your veterinarian's name and address, and make sure that you include your name and address and phone number and maybe an emergency number in your pet documents. Your pet documents should include your most current vaccination status for your dog, such as your rabies, parvo and distemper, leukemia, or upper respiratory viral vaccinations on your cat. Make sure you have that along with any other type of health care document, such as when your pet was last seen, allergies that your pet has problems with, any other health care concerns that a shelter or a veterinarian not familiar with your pet may need to know. Fold these up and place them in a brochure or a pet docket, and make sure that they are again in a waterproof bag or container that has been sealed. And place this in your bag as well. It's really recommended to have a current picture of you and your pet, and that will give you, if your pet is found separately from you or separated from you, it will let the shelter or the veterinarian know that you and your pet belong together. If there's any identifying things on your pet, such as a white paw or a blaze or an ear that perhaps has a notch taken out of it, make sure that you show those up. Make sure that you have a clear facial view of you as well, so that identification of you and your pet can be made. Place this in your bag as well. And because identification is so important for our pets, we want to make sure that we have a very sturdy collar, and the collar should certainly have your rabies tag and any other type of identification. You can have a tag that has your name, address, and phone number. And if your pet has other identification, such as a microchip, make sure that the microchip tag and number is on your collar. Another good idea is to provide a waterproof tape covering over some information that has, again, your name and address, phone number, and even more importantly, perhaps a friend or a relative who doesn't live in your exact area, someone that will actually not be affected by the disaster that you may be experiencing. So wrap this in a waterproof tape and make sure that this collar is firmly attached to your dog. Now, we don't want the collar to be too tight, but if it's too loose, collars have a tendency to slip over the head of the dog, and a dog can escape or a cat can escape. So it's not a bad idea, and we strongly recommend having a collar on and a comfortable halter that can easily contain the trunk or the torso of your cat or dog. This will make it sort of an insurance in case your collar slips off, that you have a secondary restraint device, and this is a great idea to make sure that your pet stays safely with you without escaping. These ideas, and there are others too, are simply meant to make sure that your pet is safe during evacuation or when you may need to be able to take off without a whole lot of forward warning. So keep something like this close at hand. Keep those things available that you can keep in here. Make sure that if you have refrigerated medications or other medications, you keep them together in a convenient location like a medicine cabinet or your pet's food drawer, or someplace that is familiar to everybody. It's important to have a pet carrier for your cat or small dog to make sure that as you evacuate, your pet can go safely with you and not get lost or loose from you. If you have a pocket pet such as a gerbil or a hamster or a small bird, a small cage is certainly a great idea to have available to put your pet in. And we hope that you don't ever have to have an evacuation with your pet or a disaster that occurs in your area, but it's better to be safe than sorry.